anytime that, you know, you're conceivably going to get reinforcements added into a fight as well. So, you know, the Baron is, you can't call him chicken here. You would just call this pragmatism, right? If I just barrel in there with 400 troops and almost 300 injured, we're fucked, right? That big army of sturgeons will join these bandits. Maybe conceivably will help us here. You know, you really want them to engage the sturgeons and then beat up the sturgeons once they're beat up. But we're going to have combat here either way, and we're going to try to siege Ostrakhan. So let's go ahead and start an episode here. Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Welcome back, friends. I am back from vacation. The Baron is back. Of course, we're still continuing to have regular content on the channel, but I appreciate you guys being patient with content from this epic Vlandian campaign. We are in, of course, the northwest of Calradia here, and the Baron is seeking to expand his new empire. Now, I am working on getting a new banner made here. Frankly, it's at the custom print shop, right? We've got this new guy also I want to explain. This guy is actually one of our Patreon supporters, and he joined our Disasters of War series. Now, you might scoff and say that's unfair. We've literally copied and pasted his character from his campaign, which is really cool. It's a good way for you guys to jump right into this campaign. But he's not an unbelievably powerful character, and none of his equipment came with. So we do have to equip the guy, and notice the smithing. We're not going to use that, right? The 317 smithing, not unless this campaign goes extraordinarily bad and I have to pull some levers here just to survive. That smithing won't be used. We're not just going to cheat and have a bunch of smithing skill. But this guy is going to join the ranks of our army here. He's not a spectacularly powerful warrior, but he's solid, right? So we lose characters. We're fighting incredibly juggernaut kingdoms. In fact, look at that shit, right? We're outnumbered, I don't know what you want to call that, 15, 20 to 1 on the power bar, and we're at war now. The Baron is at war with 3 different kingdoms. Now, we took Oxhall, or excuse me, we fought and defended Oxhall. We're heading to Ostrakhan, right? We took Rovault, we have Tirby Castle, and the reason I'm doing this, of course, is I would like to sort of secure this northwest perimeter here. It'll be a lot easier to defend, and the Baron can start expanding his new realm. By the way, he has told me direct from the Baron that he wants to remain the Baron and not be the king. So we're going to continue this to call this guy the Baron. I think it's kind of a cool surname or whatever the fuck, the title, whatever the fuck that's called for this very anti-hero in this campaign. Now, I'm scouting out villages that we can defend. Some of this is familiarization for me. I haven't played in a week or so, and I've got all these sturgeon forces here that are very likely to engage. Quite honestly, I don't want to fight them. I'm trying to rest and heal. They are probably going to come and attack again, but before that happens, I would like to gather reinforcements, and maybe we can even take Ostrakhan before they come back. Now, the huge sturgeon army left, so you know, they could literally attack here in a minute or two following Ragnar's party. That's not good, right? Ragnar, Lothbrok Ragnar, the sort of mythical character. He's out there in this campaign. He's one of the uber nemesis characters that are out there. Conceivably, they're going to be attacking soon. We need more troops, so we're going to be continuing to go to villages, obviously. In fact, we'll try to rescue this village here, and that'll make them thrilled. Now, I like that. That guy was being chased by mountain bandits. That's a good sign, right? The mountain bandits continue. In fact, it's perfectly appropriate. We have George, the Bandit King. He has joined the Baron here, and it's perfect, right? Because we are using bandits, right? The Baron is very limited for troops here. I'll take all these, though, actually. Let's just take them all, as, again, we continue to use only bandits, Vlandian, and mercenary units for this campaign. Now, let's see, I've been off a week here. I'm sort of wondering if I should have a theme for this episode, because it's also possible that, you know, we siege a city and things are boring. There's not going to be peace, though, at least not right away, because, again, the Baron's got an ego. He's not about to bend the knee right away to the sturgeons here, so I don't really know what to expect. But I do have a theme, and it came to mind, actually, on vacation. We'll see how much I ramble about it here, but and that is death, right? Real-life death. You know, this hits home sometimes. Of course, a lot of the guys on the channel are very young, and so you guys aren't really dealing with it unless, unfortunately, you just lost like a parent too young, or some other friend in some tragedy or something like that. But on vacation, my wife and I actually went to Canada, Tofino, for anybody who's curious. It's sort of in the northwest part of Canada. A beautiful place to have our anniversaries, our 9th anniversary as a married couple. And while we were there, it looks like someone had CPR or something like that while they were on a whale watching tour. And so I sort of watched with intensified curiosity because I'm a firefighter, and it didn't seem like they survived. They were working him for a very long time. And maybe if this episode is kind of slow, I will put out an anecdotal story or two just to keep things lively while we do some of the less exciting parts of the campaign. I do want to say that this part here I'm probably not going to edit, right? What we're doing right now is just trying to balance our army, drop some food off here. I'm gonna put some food in the stash. I like to do that as if I can at this stage, and sort of keep 2 or 3 locations with food. That way, in the event of siege, we can very easily dump a bunch of food on the city, make everybody happy again, right? The proverbial bread and circuses. And it's good to buy the city some time in the case of siege, right? So that you don't have starving, so that you don't have death, right? Of course, death is a theme of our world. I'm going to buy this too, actually. I'm going to take this opportunity here just to do this. We're going to deck out some characters with some of this equipment. If you're wondering why the hell there's all this incredible equipment here at Roll Vault, I mentioned it before. This is all our stuff here. So these fuck merchants are like those sons of bitches at pawn shops that sell you back your own stuff after you get robbed. That's actually happened to me as well. But we're going to buy some of this stuff here. Money's not too big of a problem, but I don't want to just spew away all our money here. So I am going to sell a few goods here and buy this nice piece of armor. And then I think we'll put it on George. We've got George the Bandit King. Again, just a little bit more. In fact, we'll just switch a few pieces of armor here. We'll switch out his armor, put it on hers. Yeah, you guys get the idea. George the Bandit King is a guy who wrote in a couple different times. And I think we're eventually going to have, 30 or 40 of these episodes of Disasters of War. And you guys have probably, if you're watching on a regular basis, you guys have probably seen George the Bandit King and the scenarios he sent in. So fun to add somebody's character straight to this campaign. Now, I know some guys, like I said, are scoffing because we're adding like this level 28 character. He's not like an overwhelmingly powerful beast of a character. And don't forget all the different disadvantages we have here. Death for all mod cranked to the max. So we have level 28 characters dying on a pretty regular basis. I don't think too many people out there are gonna have any problem with us, adding an occasional character or two. I won't take any character probably above 30, 32, something like that. So if you send in your level 47 god and you're like, I want my character to be this, I probably won't do that, right? I'll probably ask you to find a save game from a lot earlier or something like that. But I do like, in continuing to embrace this, where you guys are part of this campaign, right? That this is a really cool aspect. I've got a little mod, of course. Anybody wondering, it's just called Character Manager, where I can essentially take your save game, clone your character, and drop them right into this campaign, right? Of course, I have to have a companion to do that with, but we obviously happen to have one for George. Now, if you want to have a character, the best way to do it, sort of to prioritize that, is the Patreon. Those guys, the bottom line is the people who obviously directly support the channel have to have priority to that. It's just like the people who pay more to sit in first class or whatever it is in our world, right? The people that are directly supporting me on the channel will have sort of front of the line privileges. So if you're really eager to have a character in this campaign, even a nemesis in this campaign, for $2 you can join our Patreon, support me a little bit, and then of course have your character out there trying to kill the Baron, or in this case George the Bandit King trying to help the Baron. Now, I want to hit more of these villages, but our army is actually stuffed to the gills with troops here, and I want to start the siege of Ostrakhan. I must say too, there's 2, 3, 4 guys that are sort of waiting for their characters in this campaign. Obviously, we're not going to run with unlimited characters, but if you want to be involved, right? Or we're going to have future campaigns. That's kind of your best route to do it. Now, this city, look at this city, is going to be starving here. Minus 28 for food stocks, and this little white army out here, this Entho guy. It's really weird. There's rebels here, and there's actually a chance that if we're attacked here by sturgeons, which is possible with the reinforcement system, that these guys come in and help us again. It's a really amazing dynamic of this mod. I've mentioned it ad nauseum in this campaign, but these are rebels, and they're basically allied with the Baron, or at least, you know, they're willing to fight the same foe here. Very cool element. Now I want to see what the Vlandians will give us for peace, but we can't do it. Can't do it mid siege here. We'll take a look at that afterwards. If the Vlandians want to get on their knees at some point, maybe the Baron will let them join our kingdom, but there's certainly going to be no peace, right? It's going to be a ruthless annihilation of these Vlandians that didn't recognize, right, the incredible prowess and clearly egotistically created character, the Baron, right? This guy's an egomaniac to the extreme. Look at this sturgeon guy gets chased down. Now there's other mountain bandits sacking this guy. You gotta love it. There's all kinds of carnage happening in the screen too. My head's like on a swivel in this campaign. It's so different than any other campaign I've played because of all these different mods and elements that we're adding to it. There's rebels, you know, capturing Monchug. People are getting killed by mountain bandits and shit like that. Monchug and, of course, the children of Baron York, I must say this from time to time, are still very much a part of this campaign. Don't forget about that part. There will be some way that all of this sort of ties together over the course of time. I will explain Liz as well. Liz, you might have seen that name there. We will talk more about that. There is a storyline coming with that as well. Now, not going to spend a huge amount of time with this siege. But this boring process here where you're just trying to destroy their siege, to me this is the best way to sort of quickly siege down a city. This still takes 3-4 days depending on your siege skills, but if you can destroy all the enemy's counter siege, you have so much a better chance to take the city without huge casualties. So I don't really want them to have 2 or 3 fire catapults and just immolating our small army. So just going to take a minute here. It looks like we're almost set here. As soon as that ram is built, we'll probably start this siege. And this is no gimme, right? There's almost 800 defenders, although the garrison is starting to starve. This should be a siege that's relatively run-of-the-mill. So this guy looked like he died. I watched from our little hotel room in Tofino, and this boat came racing up. A paramedic came running down. And at this stage, after 30 years in the fire service, I can just tell by the tenor, by how firefighters and medics are moving, whether or not it's serious. And they raced up, and then the medics paced back and forth, waiting for this guy on a boat. He was out, you know, touring some islands and shit like that. He raced up, the boat raced up, and they were pacing. They ran down. It's one of those things I can just tell. And then just barely in the silhouette of the boat, they ran onto this whaling, you know, not shooting at whales, but this whale watching boat, and they were clearly doing CPR. Right at this stage, with my experience, I can tell. Now this is wild. This is like unbelievably foggy. But you guys get it at this stage. I'm going to skip the tactics for this battle and just ramble a little bit about the fire service. The fire service is full of death, right? That's the bottom line. There's very few professions, I guess, unless you're like you know, you work at the morgue, you know, unless you're the coroner that deals with death more often, right? We're just to give you an example, my 30-year career, I've probably been exposed to about 50 deaths, various different kinds, and maybe we'll talk about a little bit about that. We'll talk about saves, right? I don't talk about this very often, and guys are fascinated with this, right? Because maybe they've seen Chicago Fire or Rescue Me or one of the very many fire service shows that are out there. And I almost always have to start off with I hate to disappoint you kind of thing, because we almost all know, and it's no exception here, that TV is just a farce. Even Netflix, all that shit. When it comes to showing professions, it's almost always highly exaggerated and very inaccurate. And that is definitely the case with the fire service, right? When you're watching Chicago Fire, it seems like every episode there's all kinds of crazy drama, and firefighters are leaping out of buildings and shit like that and landing in garbage cans, or jumping out of you fucking assholes. Jumping out of helicopters and shit like that while it explodes. That shit never happens, right? Like, that's not a thing. There's extraordinary safety measures taken by the fire service, because we just learned over decades that if you're careless, if you're reckless, you don't jump out of fucking helicopters, right? You get killed when you impact the ground. there's not a garbage can full of nice soft shit there. You get immolated. And so there's a lot more caution and safety that's involved with the fire service. Nor does the fire department just roar into fires when there's obviously nobody to save, right? A lot of times we'll come up to houses that are what we call fully involved, and they're just, it's a fucking barbecue. Even if there are people in there, we don't go in. Why? Because the people for sure are dead, crispy critters, and we're not just going to throw our lives away to try to save people who are completely dead, right? That there's no chance of saving, right? We have sayings basically in the fire service: get the fuck off the Baron's catapult, fucking dipshit highwayman. Now I'm going to form a ring here around the Baron, just explaining what I'm doing here before I get back to all the death of the fire service. The Baron continues to rule by fear, as we continue to illustrate. I've probably 50 or so, and not too many children, fortunately, but that is something I have been exposed to, and most firefighters have been exposed to that. I will probably spare the most heartbreaking stories, but there's a few that come to mind that maybe are not the worst I've ever seen. They're kind of like the second tier of difficult to deal with. Children being injured. I've literally had the child with a scissors in the face, right in the eyeball. That's a thing. This mom was distraught. She was actually my second patient in the ambulance because I had this mom and a kid who had obviously given her 7-year-old scissors. And of course, what did he do? He ran with them or whatever, literally stuck in the eyeball. So, you deal with this kind of stuff, and it's pretty awful. The parents are almost always like more distressed than the children. The children are in shock, and the parents are just, they're absolutely beset by grief. They're thinking, I did this. What's the husband gonna think? I blinded my kid forever. I created a fucking a disaster in our family with my carelessness. How could I? This is, something they love. Anyways, you guys get the idea. It can be pretty tragic. A story that I may have told before, but I'll say it again just because it's one that impacted me so profoundly, was a drunk driving call I went on a long time ago. It was actually in Kodiak, Alaska. It was a firefighter up there, and it was an MVA, or a motor vehicle accident. I'll try not to use too many abbreviations. And we got on scene, and there was a rollover. See, this is why I got to get these banners changed. I will do that. Maybe even we'll edit in between this battle and the next and change the banner here for the Baron. But we roll up. There's a car on its side. There's a car on its roof. There's a car in the ditch. There was 3 cars involved. There's a guy crying and sort of clearly distressed, but also looked disheveled and quite drunk. And he turned out he was the driver, and he kept calling a particular name. But we later learned out that this guy was a repeat drunk driver, which is why I'm very, very much opposed to drunk driving, even buzz driving. Most of our society is, but a lot of people sort of take it for granted. I can drink and drive. No big deal. Any deaths here? I'm concerned we're going to get, speaking of deaths, I'm concerned we're going to get characters down here. Doesn't look like it. I'm trying not to kill you right away there, George, or Comet, or any of the other companions here. Didn't die. That's always a good thing. I am going to fight this secondary part here just so I can finish this story. This guy is distraught, and there were 2 girls that were injured in the car, and one of them was deceased, clearly deceased. I was one of the first people to do so with the 360 around the vehicle, and she really did look like a Halloween costume. She was upside down, or I guess her head was almost on the ground, and her feet were almost on the ground, and her torso was up in the air, upside down, not hanging belly to the ground, hanging back to the ground. So almost like you would hang a robe up or something like that, and she had been killed, ejected from the vehicle during this accident, and barely resembled a person anymore, right? Her body was Gumby, completely broken into pieces. I don't mean physically into pieces or something like that. I'm trying not to get killed here. And this poor gal, she couldn't have been more than 16 or something like that, had been a passenger in the car. The other person, her friend, was badly injured and killed his own daughter, right? This drunk driver, this repeat drunk driving fuck, killed his own daughter, ejected his own daughter from a different vehicle, didn't even know that he had hit this car and killed this daughter. Just an absolute tragedy. And it's one of the stories I like to tell also to discourage drinking and driving, right? Because just like this companion we lost, the guys, you know, maybe you get away with it, right? The guys that are out there that are listening to this, if you haven't gotten into a serious accident yet, maybe you've just been lucky, whatever it is, man, please just get an Uber, take a friend with you, you know, who's going to be the designated driver. I'm just, as one firefighter to people listening to this, and I'm not scolding anybody, understand that. Like, it's important to try to push this from a positive aspect. Please don't drink and drive, right? We see the signs, and people sort of take it for granted in some countries, right? Other countries are very thoughtful about it. But I can tell you, being on the other side of it and seeing the real human tragedy that comes from this kind of stuff, it's a real thing. So that's my little story. I think for the first part of this episode here is we add Ostakan to the retinue here of different cities. That was a relatively easy siege, although we lost that companion. We immediately got a new companion here. So why am I going to do this here? We'll do a little bit of editing, and we are going to add another character to the roster here and continue on with this episode. This is not going to be a good city for defense. Let me think how I want to do this. Before we get going, let's go ahead and introduce this guy here. Of course, this companion we just picked up. I just went behind the scenes, spent a few minutes editing, and welcome to the group. Welcome to the campaign, Atreus Zeus Anon. This is suggested again by one of our Patreon members. This is the mortal son of Zeus, and he is appropriately going to be an infantryman with javelins. Now, I'll give you a good look at his amazing Greek beard and hair here. Again, another one of our supporters. We're going to put this guy into battle right away. He's slightly edited, and what I did is I took a character who died a little while ago and simply copied and pasted his stats. He's like level 18 or something like that. This guy will fly now into combat. We'll go ahead and give him a horse, some armor here. At the beginning, this guy is going to be on horse simply because we need a cavalryman in this campaign. So eventually, of course, Atreus Zeus will be on foot. I don't know, a huge amount about this character other than kind of the weapon spec that this guy was asking for. I'm not going to use your fellas' names unless you say, hey, I want my name behind this character. We'll just say a supporter. So there you go, Atreus Zeus. I think that's Anon. And this guy is going to be another one of the vital companions, hopefully, in this campaign. Of course, we're still dealing with death. He gets to replace a companion that died before that was not named after anybody. It wasn't one of the custom companions. And again, you get an idea of his weapon skill, his spec here. Nothing spectacular. He'll get better, of course, but this will give us a little bit of a fighting chance in this campaign. We've got at least the Huntress here. The Tracker guy, of course, has been with us forever. George the Bandit King, Garrison Keeler, etc. Right? We still have Marco. We still have Comet Royal. They're now leading groups. And of course, soon we are going to start adding clans to this campaign. Obviously, if you want to be a player clan, right, you got to let me know. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to make logical decisions here. Now, speaking of logical decisions, right, the first thing we got to do is consolidate our power in this campaign. We now have 2 cities and 2 castles. It's not very much. We're dealing with juggernaut foes here. In fact, I'm surprised the Sturgeons haven't attacked yet. They're probably gathering steam for an attack. I think they are at war with the Khazate, which is good news, right? So they're kind of being stretched across the map here. Maybe we'll only have to deal with half of their armies. If we had to deal with the entire Sturgeon force all at once here, the Baron and company might be in deep shit. But we'll see, right? Maybe all of their forces will fight the Khazate, as the AI tends to prioritize strong kingdoms, right? So if they're at war with the Khazate, that's on the other side of the map, of course. Using the Fog of War, we're not really going to show you. Then maybe we've got, a little opportunity here, a week or two before we can start. I spoke too soon here. I look like a dipshit as usual. A gigantic force being led by Ragnar. Oh shit! Wait! Harathios. Let's see. Of course, the Baron's reputation is shit, but every single time I see a noble clan, we're like, well, do these guys hate the Baron? We're basically going through looking for anybody who doesn't hate the Baron, and here we go, 41. Where's your leader? Take me to your leader. This guy's it, despite the fact that he has a tiny army. We have a small chance here to chase this guy down. Of course, we badly need help. So it might be worth it, even though we're going to get sieged here. These guys are both coming right my way. Now, the one guy hates us. I'm not even going to talk to that fuck, but this... shit. Shit. No. Okay, good. We cut him off. Come on, dude. I think he'll join. Here we go. Sweet. Man, the Baron finally has some friends in this campaign. Right, he's got these new companions, these soldiers of fortune and whatnot. Not sure the son of Zeus would fight for a despicable person like the Baron, but here you go. I mean, he is certainly a warlord. And that's going to help, right? We're going to be able to add these couple of armies to our bigger army and maybe have an outside chance here. Now I'm trying to brainstorm other things we can do here. Again, I'll reemphasize. Okay, that's this army. I'll reemphasize we're not going to be sneaking into cities against forces under 2,500. So this force, by nature of that rule we've set for ourselves, we're not going to sneak in. Everybody knows that the defense system is broken. You can get in 80% of your army. That would never happen in real life. So we are going to have to fight this battle in the open. Now they're already sieging down the city. Are they? Yeah, they're actively sieging right now, which is good. So they're going to get weakened a little bit. And here's what I can do. I can add this army, 12, 13, with some injuries. And here's what else I can do. Well, let me think here. Garrison will probably we'll get some deserters. I think what you do here is you take the entire force of Tyrby Castle and say, come with us. We need you right now. We can take like 180. We'll take all of these troops. They're not good troops, levy, crossbow, footmen, recruits, but we need troops badly in this battle. We can't let Revolt fall. We just took it. You got to make a stand here eventually. And so this is going to be our stand. We might get some help, right? This noble Chenon might hate the Sturgeons, and maybe not. I'm worried about reinforcements, right? I'm worried about a huge Sturgeon force looming over the hills. You kind of hope, get in the army here. This guy here, he's terrified. Get over here. All right, 1,300. At least it's going to be close in numbers, and now we have to deal with, damn, we just got deserters. Now we have to deal with these ferocious Varangians. On top of that, of course, look who's leading their army, right? Ragnar Lothbrok. And look at these insane stats these guys have. These Nemesis characters are just going to make this campaign sick. Here's another guy, Isak the Terrible. This is going to be brutal. Even though, you know, the power bar is kind of close, you just, anytime you're facing these Varangians with, you know, with this souped up stats, and then warlords with, you know, off the charts stats, you just don't know what you're in for. So, I'm at the buckle up, right? You guys didn't come here to hear me talk about firefighter stories. We're going to have some tactics here, right? This is tactical enlightenment after all. So it's not a terrific landscape for this, although we may be able to use some of these ridges to negate some of their archery advantage. I'm going to experiment a little bit here. We've been accumulating lake rats. We've been accumulating prisoners, Skolderbroda. So I might make a third division here that actually has a handful of skirmishers, maybe 50, 70, 80 skirmishers, something like that. And George the Bandit King is finally a skirmisher leader. And what I mean by that is he's going to have decent perks because he's got like 190 throwing skill. So there's not a lot, but maybe there's 40 or 50 javelin throwers in there, lake rats and some sea raiders and other units. That's going to work, right? We're going to be able to use that. Second, third, and fourth are going to basically hold our left flank and wrap around the enemy here and hopefully in a nasty kill box. Of course, kill boxes, I can just... Every battle against the Sturgeons in this campaign, we're going to have to try some sort of kill box. They're going to have an incredible amount of infantry. And most importantly, let's see, I don't know what to do with this guy here. Comet. I'm starting to try to figure out who's the best captains for groups, of course. Who the fuck is this guy? Ento. Is this guy? This guy's not in our army. Wait a minute. Look at this shit. This guy, this is unreal. This is like the elves arriving at Helm's Deep in the Lord of the Rings. This guy is a rebel, and I didn't even see him. He's in this battle. This is unreal. Maybe he's inside the city. I have no idea why he's here, but we'll take it, right? We'll take all hands on deck for this battle. And I think, let's see, Garrison Keeler is a cavalryman. We can put him in charge of the 8th. And then switch this other gal. We're kind of building some engineers as future clan members so that they can be you know, good at defense. I think that's going to work. Second, third, fourth over here. On the other side, of course, a lot of these are starting to get familiar to you as they should be, because we're trying to use relatively similar tactics with just adjustments mid-battle, right? That's what I always recommend, is have a plan, and then have a plan that's adjustable. So 3 different divisions of crossbow will hold fire here at the beginning. And then I've got this skirmisher division, a little bit of a wrinkle on our normal army. And now look at that positioning, right? Now, I don't know if we can get the enemy over that far. In other words, I'm not sure that that elevation is going to be that useful. We might be able to drag the enemy that direction, but I think we have a chance to win this battle here. And I say that because if we may have to retreat, we may just have to give up Revolt. These armies we're facing are insane, and every single one of these is, you know, I was going to say life and death. It is for everybody, for Baron York, for the companions. Of course, you're going to see me keep my shield up a lot, right? There are deadly nobles here that we're facing. That looks like some of them there. Isak the Terrible and some of these other terrible, nasty Juggernaut characters. You'll recognize Ragnar probably out there by his beard, although I don't see him right now. I think Ragnar's on foot. Ragnar Lothbrok, this legendary character. The stats I gave him using one of the character editors, this is silly. He's got like 5-something one-handed skill and 400 athleticism. He's going to be a terror to fight. Now over here, let's see. Let's start shifting these troops towards our left. I really want to kind of pull them towards our diabolical setup over here. But that second, third, and fourth, that's going to be kind of our vanguard of major damage, although we can move them after the battle starts. And then, of course, Comet Royal in the 7th Corps with shock troops is behind another division of cavalry. So we've got 2 cav divisions playing defense. The Baron still doesn't have the cavalry he wants, right? He's in hunt of cavalry. There's no mercenary forces in this part of the map that have cavalry, right? Like a Gilman or something like that. And they may not join the Baron anyways, but for now, we're just continuing to do what we can with the forces we can. We have a lot of infantry and a good amount of crossbow. So even though the Baron wouldn't prefer that, I'll tell you as a tactician, you guys know I do. Cavalry dies a lot in battles like this, whether you attack with them or play defense, right? So in you go there, Comet Royal, wreak havoc. They are starting to get pulled towards our first, which is beautiful, right? We can start to move these different divisions around them. Let's see. Fuck. I feel really awkward. I haven't played very much in the past week. Honestly, I feel a little bit like I'm playing left-handed or something like that. Let's get this second and third in here. I've got this skirmisher division. I'm going to try to twist behind the enemy and then protect them with cavalry while crossbows shoot the other side. That'll basically sandwich the enemy no matter where they go. Now, these crossbow are a little close. We could charge with that infantry division eventually, but now we've got skirmishers behind them, crossbow on their side, shock troops charging their other flank. There's a lot of them, though. Fuck. Varangians everywhere. Let's move this division in, this 3rd division. Those guys are lobbing javelins in here. And the AI is kind of taking a defensive posture here in the middle. The 1st division is sort of distracting, and they're kind of ignoring it. The AI is actually doing a good job of ignoring it. The 7th Division, I need you guys back here. The enemy has a ton of cavalry just throttling our crossbow. And then they have this huge Varangian line, and they're just all holding up their shields. We've got to surround and destroy this force. These skirmishers, though, are firing away. I can see the javelins hitting them. Each guy's got 3 fucking javelins in the shield. And the deathband looks good. Come on, boys. Bore in here. Let's get this division of crossbow also right on the enemy. We'll have to charge at them eventually anyways. Now we can protect them with these cav divisions. The cav in this battle, like many of our battles, purely defensive. You send these guys in to charge against Varangians and they get one shot, right? Varangians with their fucking 260 two-handed skill. Your cavalrymen just get chopped in pieces like Game of Thrones. This 7th Division is in here. Comet Royal's leading the charge. George is in here somewhere. Come on, boys. Fight! Let's get this crossbow division in here charging, and at least we've completely surrounded the enemy, and even better, we've isolated their archers. See all the cavalry here just shot to pieces. They're not dead, though. They're just absorbing tons of arrows in their shields. Meanwhile, we're just exterminating this juggernaut Sturgeon force. Of course, if you've watched every battle for this campaign, you know this is going to be our tactic. This is going to be our go-to tactic, and now it's a matter of adjusting for reinforcement waves here. I'm 2, 3. Not a lot of units have ammo left. I can do just a little bit of distracting here with the Cav division, but I think they're actually better used as defense. Look at how many archers this is. I mean, we are not going to be able to charge that. Let's pull these units back here. Make a basically concentrated center. We've got a little bit of a ridge to put our reinforcing archers on that screen there. Cavalry can guard our left flank here. It's actually our right flank if you're looking at the enemy. Seems okay. Our cavalry's really weak. We just don't have good cavalry. The Baron wants Banner Knights and they're getting killed. The enemy's charging in. Time for a counter charge here. The enemy's kind of broken up as they come in here. Cavalry's charging. Our turn to charge. We're going to make our stand right in this valley here. And this seems like a perfect opportunity for the Baron to join his men on foot, right? Archers are in good position. Crossbows in good position. I think I'll get shot off my horse if I charge those archers anyways. Let's do some work here. Fight with our men. I got lots of health. The Baron, I mean, has lots of health, right? Kill these bitches. I got a shield I can whip out if there's tons of archers. This is all infantry reinforcements, and we've got a good momentum line here. Push forward, boys. Of course, these motherfuckers got like 300 hit points. Feel a little bit more comfortable on foot, actually, than I do on foot, or on a horse. I got to get my bearings again after being on vacation. The Baron's rusty. He's been on vacation. All right, let's get archers set up right here. They have a pretty good angle on their archers, and let's put shields right up in their face, cavalry right in their face. That way these archers can set up in relative safety. All right, that looks good. The death spam doesn't, but that's because we're closing on all these archers. Charge these bitches. Come on, man, fight! It's very fucking ugly. Bloody fucking battle. Baron just needs victory, right? This is a victory. This is a battle. We've got to have victory. You like start ramping it up. Like, it doesn't matter if you're rusty. You just fucking focus a little bit more. Let's get infantry and archers up here, or infantry and cavalry up here. Look at all these fucking archers firing away. Look at this guy. He ain't getting any hits on me, motherfucker. I love it. There's these troops with the white shield. That is this fucking rebel. This is unbelievable. He's been in another fight, too. I think he was in the fight where we took Revolt. It's just surreal. We have this rebel fighting with us. And he's a rebel of Revolt. Revolt is gone. I wish we could join. I wish we could add him to our kingdom. Usually they're not eligible to. And of course, thanks for all your comments. You can't really pick up the guys that are from destroyed kingdoms. You must do it before they're destroyed. A lot of guys chimed in with that. I appreciate that. I'm very badly behind on comments. When I go on vacation and I release 3, 4, 5 videos, they're all released on a schedule. I'm not doing anything other than making the content and then setting it to go off like an alarm clock. We got this shit. We're steamrolling this shit. Let's push up aggressive before they can reform. Push in hard. I'll do my best to get to comments, fellas. But the Baron needs a vacation once in a while. We can't let them set up down there. Push hard. Look at, that's fucking George the Bandit King. Get the kill, dude. That's fucking sweet, dude. I fucking love it, man. It's got to be a thrill, too, seeing your character in somebody else's game. That'd be really wild if someone was running around with, like, Baron York in their campaign. Let's keep pushing with cavalry here. I think they're going to set up in this valley here, but they also might rout, right? That's routing behavior. They're running backwards. We have really throttled the Sturgeons here despite all their boosted units and characters. Oh, damn it. I need a horse. There is a mod where you can just whistle for horses, but I've just, I've already got so many mods going on in this campaign. I'm trying not to overwhelm you fellas. Charge, boys. There's Fee and Champs running the other way. We got this fucking shit. Hell yes. It feels sweet. with so many defeats in this campaign now, to have these victories at this stage at critical moments. Look at the white shields advancing. That's so sweet. What a great little element that is too. And even though we had 1,000 casualties here, victory is sweet. And no deaths for either side. That little random element of the battle side, or of the death for all mod, really playing out. Characters are gaining all kinds of skill points. I won't do this every battle, but every once in a while I'll try to kind of focus, to see how our companions are doing, what kind of kill ratios they did. Not a lot of them got killed there, right? We played a nice defensive game, held our ridge pretty well, and swept up a very powerful Sturgeon force. And I gotta be honest, I just don't feel terrific about how I'm playing right now. I'm actually gonna pick up one of the Disasters of War series because the stakes are a little lower. If I lose one of those, it kind of is what it is. I appreciate all of those 200 upgrades. Look at this beautiful thing. Of course, you know what these are, right? This is all the garrison troops. So we are gonna have to transport some of these garrisons around here. I think I'll probably, I don't know how much of that I'll do on camera, so to speak. But also, that was an exhilarating, exhausting battle. And maybe it doesn't feel like it on your end, but every single one of these battles is so gnarly. It's just, the difficulty is off the charts. And of course, the stakes are super high here. Companions die. Baron York can get killed. We can get captured. Although there we would have just retreated. We would have lost a revolt, right? And we'd really be on the ropes against the Sturgeons. So, see what we're going to do here. I think I'm going to wrap this episode up. See if there's any sweet gear here. Nothing too amazing. But this campaign rolls on, fellas. Ladies, fellas, everybody. We're going to continue to have gnarly battles here. We chased off Ragnar and the Sturgeons. We'll pick it up again in a few days here. I appreciate all of your support throughout this entire campaign. Of course, if you want to see more, now's the time to subscribe, right? If you hit notify, that way you know when new episodes come out. I'll try to get 3 of these out every week. I am working on other projects. I'm working full-time still as a firefighter, so I'm doing the best I can to make some tasty content for you fellas. And I do appreciate all the support. So again, please hit that like button on the way out. Mention this to some fella that you know that watches Bannerlord that uses F1, F3. And with all that said, friends, I will see you next time.